Okay, so what's up, guys? Today, maybe part one or just a single episode. Probably not a single episode because there's a lot of thing to do. But I'm gonna teach you guys how to make this boss fight sort of a game. So basically, what I was planning was there's this big plane, and then there's this small plane, which is basically gonna be the player, and then you're gonna be fighting against this big plane, which is the boss, right? So I did post the final finished project in my Scratch account, so I'll leave a link in the description below for to my Scratch account. You can check it out. So basically, it's gonna be boss fight, but boss fight because I don't like using the same title for projects, and the the already published one is named boss fight. Whatever, it's not important. So I'm gonna delete the cat, create a new sprite, and get the get a ship done. Okay, so I quickly went to my other project. I did a tutorial on it, which is, I think it was this, I don't know what it's called, but yeah. So now I have this ship, right? But there are a few problems with this ship, so I'm quickly going to fix that by doing like stuff like this. So now I can put it right over here. So now this is going to be my ship, and it looks pretty cool, I know. So now what I'm going to do is color my background and make it look like a space type of a background. So basically what I'm going to do is, because I don't like absolute black, I'm going to make it sort of like this. And then get this, and you can switch this to 80, like that, and then just create a lot of dots. Now it looks like space, I think. Maybe, maybe not. So this looks pretty good. So now gonna name this player, and then we can get to coding, like actually coding now. When green flag is clicked, what we want to do is we want the ship to be off screen about here, and then when we start, we want it to sort of glide into the camera. So to do that, what we're gonna do is go to looks and show, and then we can set size to the size we want. In this case, I'll do 75. That is a bit too big to actually get through small gaps of bullets. And then now what we'll do is set ghost effect to 100. By the way, if you want to know what the finished product would look like, you can go check it out in my profile. There will be a link in the description below, I think, maybe. And then after this, what you're going to do is go to costumes, create a new costume. You don't have to do anything about it. But now what you're going to do is switch to that costume. See, it's costume 1 with the blank. Not a blank anymore. I'm going to make it blank. So, yeah. And then so do that, and then we can set size to a very big value. In this case, I'm going to do 1000. This is to use the size hack that will be like making us able to actually get this thing off the screen at the start of the game. Because Scratch has this thing to make so that sprites won't go completely off the screen and have at least 15 pixels left on the screen. And you don't always want that. So yeah, so you just basically have to do this sort of thing to actually get it off the screen. Now negative 230, and then I'll do 0. And then I'll set our size to 100, and then go to the front layer, because yeah. And then we can go to variables. Now this project has surprisingly tiny amount of variables. It has 4 in total. The boss health, and the player health, and the shooting laser. This is going to be used in later episodes or later in the video, probably not in the later video. So shooting laser, and then we need target. So these are all 4 variables that is required to make this project, which is good, I think, probably. And then we can set our boss health and set our player health to a value. Player health is going to be 5, the boss health is going to be 250 for me. And then now what we're going to do is we're going to hide both the variables. Or actually, let's only hide the boss health because player health doesn't really has to be shown. But actually, just in case, we'll do that. And that is basically all the green flag stuff for this sprite. And then now I think what we want to do is actually move on to the actual moving stuff and all. So now we're going to go to events, get a when I receive block, and you can do when I receive spawn boss. So this is when the game sort of starts because you want the game to start, right? Or do you? Anyways, yeah. So spawn boss, and then what we're gonna do now is repeat 50 times, like this, and then we can change our ghost effect, which is right over here. So change color effect, change this to ghost effect, change ghost effect by -2. We want it to slowly fade in. And then now what we're gonna do is show our boss health. And then we can actually drag in player health for now. We're gonna replace it with a heart thingy later on, but we have lots of other things to do before we do that. So we can go to control, get a repeat until loop, and then we can do repeat until, go to operators, get an or block, and then get a less than and duplicate that less than. Go to variables, get a boss health is less than and a player health is less than. You can fill the both 50 with, replace the 50 with ones. And now you can go to my blocks, create a block. You can do movement, and then select run without screen refresh, and then add an input, and then you can name that speed, like always. So this is basically how I do the movement code, like for all the projects, but yeah. And now you can fill out 7 or lower or higher, doesn't matter, it's your choice. And then now, this is like, it's very simple, it's used in most of the games. So now if key W is pressed, which is right here, and then you can duplicate that once, duplicate twice, and then there should be 4. So, and then we can get S, we can get a A, which is right over here, and then we can get a D, like that. And then we'll go to motion, get a change Y by, like this, and a change Y by, change X by, and another change X by. And then we'll fill out this one and this one with speed, or actually this one. I'm just going to quickly switch those places so it's easier to look at, and we get a multiplication operator, put -1, and then you can put speed in the blank and duplicate that into the A. So that's looking good. Now you should not be able to move around yet because we never received this, and we have, yeah. So let's try to run this. And we currently can't see the player because it's off screen. Let's actually quickly bring it in screen so we can see it moving. So go to 0, 0, and then you should be able to move the player with your WASD keys. So that's looking good. But we currently have to broadcast this spawn boss. But we can't, so what we're going to do is go to stage, and we can do when green flag is clicked, broadcast spawn boss for now. Because later on we can make a start button and everything to actually start out the game. But we don't have that yet, so we'll quickly use that. And then we can create a new sprite, and then we can name it boss, because we need an enemy to fight. Or do we? We do. Okay, I can get the sprite back. I'm going to use the exact same thing. You can leave the costume one because you basically have to do the same thing. And then now what you're going to do is, I'm quickly going to fix this costume once again. And now what you're going to do is simple. So you're going to actually not facing upwards this time, but you're going to make it so it faces downwards. So you can select your entire thing, flip vertical, and it should look something like that. And then we can go to the code now. Or actually before we do, because it should be different, I'm going to quickly extend this sideways, sort of like this. And then this shouldn't look too bad, but because of the way I drew it, I have to switch a few things. For example, like these. And then it should be fine now. So now what I'm going to do is basically the same code, but a bit different because it's the boss. the difference is that we're going to set it to a different size. What a big difference. Anyway, so now what we're going to do is set ghost effect to 100, just like we did for the player, and then switch the costume to costume 1, and set size to 1000 and everything. And then we can switch our costume back to our rocket costume, and go to 0 and 230. So player was negative 230, and then this is going to be 230. So basically inverted. And we're gonna go to looks, get a set size to, and I'll double the size to 200. And let's see, yeah, that doesn't look too big. I think I should make it bigger. What you can do is put it on the top of the screen, and then you'll know the basic size. Or actually, that looks good enough. Doesn't need to be the biggest thing in the world, cause yeah. And then now what you're gonna do is go to events, get a when I receive spawn boss, wait until 0.05, wait 0.05 seconds, and then we'll repeat 50 times and change our ghost effect right here. Change our ghost effect by -2, which is basically the same thing we did for the player. And then now what you're going to do is you can go to broadcast, and then you can create a new message, name it start all boss loop. This is going to start all the boss loops that'll actually sort of order things to actually go on. It's a very important one. And then now what we can do is get a wait until boss health is less than 1, like this. And then we can stop all the other scripts in this sprite. So stop other scripts in this sprite, and then broadcast victory, and then wait. And then we can stop all after all of that. But we're going to have to come back to this later because there's nothing really done in the game yet. So yeah, so let's move on to our next one, which is going to be the when I receive start all boss game loop. So there's a reason why we have to do this rather than just putting it right there. It's because we're gonna use blocks to organize, and when we use blocks and put them together, they're gonna wait until the one before is done. And we don't want that, we want them to run at the same time. So what we're gonna do is create 2 blocks like this. So like this, the movement loop and the attack loop. And then you can put 1 for 1 like this, and then we can code in these 2. So for the movement loop, I'm going to have 2 types of movement. When the boss's health is over 150, it's going to do the normal just gliding movement. And then when it's below 150, it's going to start teleporting because it's got to change patterns and get harder to defeat. So now what you're going to do is go if, and then get an if else. If boss health is less than, so if boss health is less than 150, then what you're going to do is set target. So here's where you use target. It's our target X value. What you're going to do is pick a random, and I can actually hide these 2. And then you can grab onto your boss sprite and then put it approximately here to the one edge, and you can see it's -154. And then if we ran that up, that would be -150. So you can put that in, and then you can put 150 in, not 150, but this with a different sign, or inverted, I guess, whatever. -150 to 150. It's just negative to positive, or positive to negative. And then what you're going to do is go to controls, get a repeat until loop, and then repeat until we'll go to the operators, get an and block. And what you're going to do is go to operators, get this smaller than and a greater than for the 2, and then you're going to input 10 in here and -10 in here. So now what you're going to do is just go grab a subtraction for both, and then what you're going to do is go down and then get a absolute value block, and then you can fill in all 4 slots with these like this, And then we can go to motion, get an X position, put it in the second slot, go to variables, get a target, put it in the first slot, like this. And then what you're gonna do is go to motion, get a change X by, and we can go to operators, get a divided by and a subtract. And then we can divide it by about 50. It has to be a pretty big value. And then we can do the same thing, get target, and I'm quickly gonna duplicate this and put it right here, X position. So that is going to be our first movement. And then the second movement has a bit longer code, but it's not more complicated or anything. It's basically the same idea. We can set our target to, you can just duplicate that. And then we can duplicate this once again because we will be using this. But now this time you can switch this to 30 and negative 30. And you can actually switch that to 30 if you want to, and I will because why not? And then what you're going to do is put in set target to negative 150 to 150, like that. And then what you're going to do is set X, and we're going to set X to our target, like this. And then we're going to wait, pick random 225. So now basically all should be done. Okay, so now the next thing you're going to do is go to my blogs, get a movement loop, and then put it right there. That's just going to infinite loop around. And then it's going to stop later here or other stuff. Now the attack loop. Or actually, before we do the attack loop, let's actually make it so they come into the screen because there's currently standing right here or right here. And definitely, I don't think we want that. So now what we're going to do is actually get the thing going. So go to events, get a when I receive spawn boss. So what you're going to do is get a repeat loop, I think about 50. And because we're currently on 230 and we want it to be about 145. If I do quick math, it's 85. So actually what I'm going to do is make it so it's not 85 because that's just bad. And then now what I'm going to do is actually put, let's see, 42, and I will change y by negative 2. And then because that is 82, not 80, 85, I think it was that. Because it is, I'm going to quickly switch this to 227 so it fits. And then, but that's not going to work. It's going to glitch. So what I'm going to do is set size to 1000 and then set size back to 200. And this should work perfectly fine, like that. Or actually, maybe not. Let's see. Yeah, so actually now I'm just going to make this like 47 and 237. I think this will make more sense. So let's see if I stop the project and actually make this work. Yeah, it should be off the screen. And now this didn't really work since I had this. Yeah, so that is basically where it's going to be. And I think I like that, so that's good. And actually I'm going to make this 46 because, yeah, clean values are always good. So now it should start working. It should glide in and then all those stuff. So now that is working, I'm going to do the same exact thing for the player because we want the player to glide in too. So when we receive spawn boss, actually we can go to the boss, duplicate this, put it in player, and then we can actually attach this right over here. Just change this to 2, not negative 2. And they should all be coming in like that. And switch this back to 100 because, or actually 75 it was. So there you go. That works perfectly fine. Okay. like that. So I don't know why I'm doing those stuff, but okay. Just, yeah, confused here, but, and then I don't know why they're showing again. Don't know if I showed it again. Oh, I did, okay. And I don't think I want to show it. Maybe I do. I'm just gonna put this down here, put this up here. Yeah, that's where I'm gonna put it. And then now we can go back to our boss because the attack loop, this is the final thing we're gonna do today. Because there's a lot more things to do and it's one of the many. So the attack loop. The attack loop is super short because it's just basically message broadcasting. You can do if else equals and pick random 1 to 2 and equals 1. You can duplicate that like this. So I'm basically gonna have 3 attack types in total. You can have more if you want. I'm gonna go to events, get a broadcast if else. I'm gonna new message. We can do attack dash 1. So this is gonna indicate that we're gonna want to do attack type 1 and attack type. And then we can create a new message, attack type 2 like this, and attack 3 because they're all going to be different like this. And then we can wait a few seconds until the next attack pattern and we can loop that infinitely. So looking good. That should be all good for now. And then if we click the green flag, we can see them and then we can move around. The boss is gonna move around and stuff like that. Can't find it, but oh, now I did. Let's quickly undo that. This is supposed to be 150, and then now it should be working. How did I mess that up? Okay. And then now if we go again, we should get the boss moving, broadcasting the attack patterns, and you can move around and everything. So that is all I'm going to do for today because that's already long itself. In the next episode, I'm going to get player bullets so you can damage the boss. And then we can get the boss shooting some spikes or something like that. So if you enjoyed this, please hit the subscribe button and like button. If you didn't, hit the subscribe button and like button. And if you don't get what I mean, just hit the subscribe button and like button. And thank you for watching, guys. I will be back in the next episode. And see you.